You, me, and some rogue trader. I think that's a pretty good way to start the day. So I'm here first thing on a Sunday morning at about 5:30 in the morning with my second cup of coffee, and we are diving in to some Warhammer 40k because I wanted to do the rest of this early area of the game for my own personal playthrough. So I just started getting into the beta of this game about a week ago. Now that I'm sort of getting to the tail end of like what I'm working on with Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield and Cyberpunk, and I'm looking for what's the next big thing that I'm jumping into by the end of this year, and Rogue Trader looks to be it. This is going to be my month of December. There may be other things that trickle in, but my number one priority is this game, and part of that is doing the R&D here in beta. So as I've been diving into the early hours of the game, I've been compiling lots of different clips and recording videos, and today we're doing a top 5 tips for new players video based on a few of the things that I've seen right away in the beta that were like, whoa, hang on, I didn't quite understand that. And thanks to people who are in my chat, I've been live streaming most of these sessions, and I did a big R&D a couple of days ago where I sat down to do some research and live streamed it as I was reading through the encyclopedia and going through a bunch of other stuff. Thankfully, there were some great people in the chat who were able to help me out with some things, because there's not a great tutorial for this game yet. There are tutorials, but they aren't comprehensive, and there was quite a few areas where I was like, I'm coming over from like D&D and Pathfinder and having to learn a new rule set, which is totally fine. But there are some things that weren't explained immediately right away. So that's what we're going to dive into today, is top 5 tips for new players, because I, like you, am a new player, and these are the things that jumped out to me. So without further ado, let's get into the list. If you haven't already done so, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams, 9 to 11 in the morning sometime central. There's a Discord, a lot of member videos. We do 2 or 3 member videos a week, so check all that stuff out. Super thanks if you can on the video to support. In the meantime, tip number 1, you can dual wield, which I did not know this. If you have an offhand free, you can dual wield in that slot, and also you have 2 different weapon setups essentially. So you can have your primary weapon setup and your secondary. So in this case, I have a melee weapon in my secondary and my 2-handed rifle in my main. But if I go to, say, Abelard, I don't have anything in his secondary stance because he's dual wielding. Now, I didn't know this at first, so when I started the game, I had him running around with just his sword. And somebody in the chat was like, did you know you could put a pistol in that? And then I was like, oh, okay. So I put a pistol down here in the second. And they're like, no. You can put a pistol in the offhand. And I went, what? And you totally can. So you can dual wield a pistol in the offhand, which allows you to do some ranged attacks if you are if you have to close with your melee character and you have an actual distance that's going to take more than 1 turn, you can travel, shoot, travel, attack. So it's a great multi-useful setup. I can't see or I don't know of any negatives to doing this. Like, are there any penalties to the offhand? That I don't know, because I haven't dug deep enough into the rule set yet. I'm learning all of this stuff now. But the dual wield thing was important to me because I was like, I didn't know that, and this reminds me of Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, when you could do the rapier and pistol, the rapier and flintlock combo, and be like a true pirate. Oh, it was so much fun. So I really am pleased to see that in this game. So yeah, pistols and swords can be wielded. Pistols, I'm assuming there's other one-handed weapons, but anything that's like a one-handed weapon that I'm aware of, you can dual wield like this, which is really, really cool. Now, I don't have an active combat scenario up right now, but the second one I have down here is for combat. So they actually tell you this in the tutorial, but not until after it comes up in combat, or at least for me. You can't use ranged weapons in close proximity to melee targets. So when you get to the very first encounter in this game, I may have it on the stream actually. I may have to go check that. There's a section where you're going to go into combat and you're given the opportunity to move your characters. And so I just charged in as far as my character could run, and I'm a ranged character. And I got up and then they closed with me, and then I got to my next turn, and I was like, oh crap, I can't use my ranged weapon with melee enemies standing right next to me, and that wasn't explained to me at that point in time. Now, later on in that fight, the tutorial popped up and was like, if you are a ranged character, you know, blah, 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 and I was like, son of a biscuit. So, it is important to have the 2 different weapon sets for your character, having one of those, if you are a ranged character, one of those being your ranged primary weapon, but also put a melee there somewhere, because if they close with you, if you have 2 or 3 enemies around you and you don't necessarily have any sort of a disengage ability, you're going to take strikes of opportunity when you try to get away. So it's better to just have a melee weapon and deal with it in those types of scenarios. Of course, you can spec your character otherwise, but yeah, it's not explained to you right away that you can't do ranged attacks when there are melee enemies on you, and I caught myself in that scenario and was like, no. So that's an important one, and again, it is covered in the tutorial, but I wanted to get it out here in this video because there is a moment before the tutorial kicks off where you could find yourself in a scenario like me, not understanding exactly what to do. So that's number 2. Much like many other CRPGs, there is of course a button to highlight everything, and it's a different button in different games. It's usually Alt or Tab, and in this case it is the Tab button. So if you find yourself in doubt of like trying to find a piece of loot, or understanding which NPC is who on a battlefield, or you're trying to discover if there's anything that you missed while you're running through an area, you can just scroll the camera out as far as you can, hold the tab button, and then you can, you know, move around and see if you have anything that you missed. Now, I think there's a limit on this. I could be wrong. See, there is a limit on how far you can go with the camera based on doorways and stuff, so it's kind of just your general area, but this is one of the ways to do this. And also, it's going to show you not just the NPCs that you can interact with, but also any objects. Like over here, these sometimes are highlighted, sometimes they aren't. Like the door is definitely highlighted because that's like a quest objective, but this over here is not. So if I wanted to know that there was something over here to click, I would need to hit the tab button to bring up the highlight and then be like, oh, there's something over there I click on. The explosion blasted a hole through the door large enough for a person to get through, which is obviously part of what we're here to take care of. So that's going to be the next part of the Let's Play series, I think. I think there's combat behind this door. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking there probably is. Anyway, hitting tab is your friend because it highlights all the objects. Quick commercial break, everyone, to give a shout out to our first official guild officer, Bubalonia, as well as all of the guild champions, and of course, all of the members who help keep me on the air full time. To join as a member, simply click that join button below and pick your tier, but you can also support with SuperChats on any live stream or premiere, or SuperThanks on any upload or YouTube short. Don't forget the Discord. Let's get back to the video. Alright, the next one was me doing trial and error, just clicking around. On the right hand side, you're going to see these windows. Inventory, character, journal, map, Corpus, Valancius, void chip management, and beyond. This is the one we want to focus on. Corpus, Valancius. I don't know that I've ever seen... Seriously, I've played a lot of CRPGs over the years, and I'm used to there being some sort of robust encyclopedia, you know, glossary type thing, bestiary, and I've seen it very well done in many, many games, but I don't know that I've ever seen something quite as comprehensive as what they have here. So if you are someone who is new to Warhammer like I am, I've literally done 2 episodes now on the channel. I think they're literally called Warhammer 40k Lore, and it's like the Discovering Rogue Trader series, because this thing is massive. I've gone through now the Chronicles of the Coronos Expanse, which is like the history of the family that you're becoming a part of and the rogue traders in society and etc. But the big one here, you've got a mechanical glossary, a forbidden grimoire, but here's the big one. The big one is the Annals of the Imperium, and there are dozens of entries here. Like there's a ton of information here, and this is all of the lore of Warhammer. So if you're someone who's completely new and you don't have access to a player's handbook, Not that you need one in the first place, because the nice thing about playing a game like this is they're giving you a streamlined version of this, just enough to, help you with your playthrough. And if you like all of this, you can go online and go even deeper, because Warhammer's been around for, I guess, like, don't murder me if I'm misquoting this, but I think around 30, 40 years, somewhere in that ballpark. It's one of the oldest tabletop series out there. Systems, I should say, with miniatures and everything else. So there's a ton of detail in the world and lots of different versions. So this is a condensed version, but I highly recommend that you take the time to go through it, because there's a ton of information in here. Just when you get started in the game, there's a ton of information here. So don't waste the time, or don't waste your opportunity, I should say. Yes, waste the time. Please waste the time reading this. Don't waste the opportunity. Don't skip it. All right, understand the tabs on the right, because there's a ton of tabs, and they're not like really big, so it's not, I would say, obnoxiously obvious that those are things that you should be maybe clicking on. The tooltips are over here, but if you have edge panning on, it can kind of be a little of a pain if you're not careful, because if you're trying to click on things and you move your mouse over here and it scrolls. But if you take the time and control it, you have Cargo Manager, Void Ship Management, Corpus, Valancius, which is the encyclopedia, the map, the journal, the character panel, and inventory. Now, there's a couple right out of the gate. I'm in the early stages of the game. You don't need to know about things like Void Ship Management. The fact that they have this here is a testament to the complexities of this game. But I would also suggest that this be turned off in the window over there. Like, you shouldn't be able to open the Void Ship Management screen until you've done the tutorial for Void Ship Management. Because if you're like me and you're clicking all of the buttons, you're clicking on things and you're going, what the hell is this for? And oftentimes there is a tutorial later on that explains it, aka you can't use ranged weapons in proximity with a melee NPC. We went over that earlier in this video. There was a tutorial later on that explained it to me, but I'm doing things my way, and so I'm clicking over here and clicking over here and doing this, and as a result, there should be things that are locked behind a tutorial. So when you're clicking over here, understand that there's a ton of information. The only ones that really matter to new players are going to be this one, the inventory button, which also is I just opens up your inventory. That's probably the most important one that you're going to be dealing with. The character panel is another one, C, or plus on the button for the character panel, and then the journal. These three right away are going to give you everything you need for the game. The map as well. That's all the early stuff, and then beyond that is the encyclopedia, the cargo stuff, and the Void Ship Manager. Don't worry about those. It's these top three, basically: inventory, character panel, and journal. These three are my favorites. This is where you're going to be spending the bulk of your time sorting through your inventory and going through your character and looking at your features and your doctrines and your reputation and all the things that are relevant to your character. And by the way, I need to do an episode on this, but whoever did the UI for this game deserves to win an award, because the UI is absolutely amazing. Apart from these things, being a little too tiny. Excuse me. Apart from these being a little too tiny, I think that the UI is absolutely amazing. And I don't know if there's scaling in here or everything else, but just the base, the way it all flows together when you're doing this and you're switching between the panels, like it's almost like they're slightly angled. So on the left, so it's almost like a book, but it's also like this thing that's folded open. It's really well done. I like the panels, man, with the character right in the middle. I think this is a dope layout. But I'm off topic, because number 5 was just about the, pay attention to your character panels. Well, we could look at character panels. There's nothing wrong with artwork. In any case, everybody, that's my quick 5 tips for new players in Rogue Trader, which is a game that I'm new to. I'm learning. I'm getting prepped for the launch of in December. I'm obviously playing this on the PC because I have the beta for R&D, but I do plan on playing this on the Xbox Series X once it goes live, and it is a same-day release for all the platforms. So PC, PS5, Xbox Series S and X Hopefully I'll see you there in the live streams and beyond. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Join the Discord with links down below, and of course check out the member videos if you're a brand new member, or super thanks on the video to support. Until next time, everybody, stay safe. Happy gaming.